Okay, it seems that it's finished. Okay, guys, so let me just walk you through what we're going to do today. So let me just load Dev Day Live, so you know what session you're actually doing. So this is the session where it's just a tutorial where I'm going to explain you what CoAlias is and what you can build with it. And CoAlias is used in a lot of scenarios, so it's sometimes a bit difficult to tell you what it can do, all it can do. So just like these couple of edge case scenarios are like Dev Day is an app that is it's one Bubble app, but it has multiple apps using CoAlias. So I think Kelly is using it for her personal site, for I think she said a private wedding site for Dev Day, and it's all leading to one Bubble app. So this is a way some people are using it, but most people are using it to add multiple domains to a Bubble app. Um, and that's the way that most people actually use the product. No, so there is no need for sub apps. Yeah, I'm already recording, but also feel free to record. So maybe it will fail or something will happen. So feel free to record. But I'm currently also recording it on Loom. That's why you're seeing this. Oh no, you're not seeing that, but there is like Loom recording being made. So basically, what CoAlias does, and I'll just pick the website, is um, we are focused on SaaS business. That's also how it got created. So I was a couple of years ago. I think it's already 5 years ago. I had a SaaS. I was selling to the government, and I found out, hey, if I am able to add custom domains to this SaaS, these governments would pay much more than they're currently paying. So what I did is I was trying to figure out, hey, how can I connect Bubble to multiple um, domains without using those sub apps, because that would create multiple databases. And basically that was the one day I started building CoAlias. It took a couple of years to get a finished product, but and I was able to scale that business to around 5 million euros in a revenue. And like 1.5 years ago, I thought, hey, maybe this is something that more people need, and I was also building more stuff with CoAlias. So that's when I started releasing this as a project and business. So it's one of my businesses I'm currently doing. I'm also using it a lot myself, but now there are like more than 1,000 Bubble apps that are using it. And on the website you'll find a demo. So that's also the I don't have a lot much time explain me what I can do with it. So basically, what you do is if you don't want URLs like this, but you want URLs like just the domain of your customer or a subdomain, that's when you start using CoAlias. And it's very easy. So you connect your um, no code app to CoAlias. So we know, hey, where do we fetch it? That can be your bubbleapps.io, but it can also be the domain that you set up. So whatever it is, that's what you input in CoAlias. Then you can add any subdomains or domains that you like. Um, and then you can point it to like a homepage. So I will also show you how this is possible. So um, yeah, and then it will load. So this is like you see here, test something something dot custom domain dot site. This is basically loading this version test navigation slug billing. So basically, we can like load these multiple parameters in how we configure domains. So we're able to configure domains, and then we can also say, hey, um, like here, overview settings. So here it's changing, and when I go to accounts, it will also. Oh, I, I forgot that I need to uh, change the version test. I'll do that later, but and basically it will load those pages for you. Um, and another thing, and that's also what customers do basically, is that with CoAlias I can like uh, do like more advanced stuff. So I already said you can connect multiple domains to one no-code app, but what you can also do is connect one domain to multiple no-code apps. So it's the other way around. So CoAlias, this website is built in Umso, so that's a page builder. I was using Framer before I switched to Umso, but this is Umso, and when I go to slash manage, for example, it loads my Bubble app. So I have basically multiple paths. I have like different um, uh, no-code apps. So some uh, customers are like have a like a WordPress blog on slash blog, and they have their main Bubble app on slash Bubble, and then they have a Webflow app on slash something else. So they're like using multiple no-code services and combining them into one no-code app, and they do this basically for SEO purposes. So CoAlias is a very powerful solution where you can do all of that, but the most simplest way, and that's also where I optimize the UI, is for adding it to like one to add to one no-code app at multiple domains. Um, and how that works. So there are multiple ways of doing this. You can of course go to the UI. So this UI is already connected to this free Bubble app, and I can just add a new. So I can say, hey, I'm doing a session. So I add a domain, um, and so like this is the version test slash index. Just to show you guys, I don't no need to add index. This is like the home page. So if I want to remove that for this custom domain, it's still being added. I can say, okay, this is added. So when I visit this, it will automatically go to slash version test. But if I don't want to remove that, for example, I can set the home page, save configuration. It takes around like 15 seconds because we do some caching to speed up this process. And hopefully it's been like 15 seconds, not yet. Yeah, and now that's working. So, and now uh, without using version test, it's still loading that page. And CoAlias can do that in multiple ways. So there are like multiple ways of like uh, loading routes, but I'll do that later on. Let's first dive into what can you do more. So we already set homepage. So what does homepage do? If you go to advanced configuration, you'll see when people visit slash star. So what does slash star mean? It's like it's a routing. Uh, it's a route. So it uses this URL patterns. It's a bit technical, but you only need it if you need to do a lot of technical stuff. But URL patterns are basically a way to define how you're going to like go from X to Z, and you can do things like books slash ID or and I'll show you that. So let's do an advanced route. So an advanced route would be like slash user. So this is something a lot of people ask when they want to create something on CoAlias. Hey, I want to just have slash user. and then you can say, okay, let's load the index page, and then user. So this will copy user to user and load that index page with user, and that will start working. Um, so the routing, you can do a lot of complex stuff with that. You can this will catch anything. This will only catch if there's like a user has been added, um, and this routing basically allows you also to add something like, if I do this, so let's always with these live demos, it's always like a risk, but WordPress.com and add route, and it's here, and like again 15 seconds, so in like not yet 15 seconds we should see like the WordPress blog. Yeah, so now WordPress is loading at /blog. So you can see, hey, how you could do stuff with routing, and routing is it's like a very powerful way, but it gets a bit, you need to experiment a bit, and once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. You can also always ask us on support, and we will help you out, of course. Yeah, we also have two kinds of routes, and I'm just going to explain this because sometimes people really want to optimize for SEO. So Bubble, when you load a page, it needs client side loading if you want to like pass a slug or something else. So a slug is basically uh, this. So I don't know, page name / slug. So if you want to pass an ID, pages thing ID, that's the way Bubble actually knows, hey, this is the pages ID I need to load. If you want to do that, you can you can use client-side routing. So that's basically what I did for that other domain. So this domain, I was basically using here client-side routing. It's a very easy way. So what the benefit of this is, you just don't need to change your app. You're just using that and it's done. But sometimes you want to optimize for SEO and you want to optimize for page speed. And then you want to maybe use like server-side routing. So if you're just loading like version test or just loading version test index, you can just use server-side routing. So that will work. But if you want to also load like the slug, and you want to use server-side routing because you want to optimize for SEO, there is a way. So we go to landing page here, and we have the element. Here's the CoAlias element. So that's inside the CoAlias plugin, where you are able to, everything I just did using the UI, you can do using the plugin. So it has a lot of actions. But it also has an element, and this element, basically, if I just look at that element, you'll see CoAlias element. It has a domain, so you can get the domain and use that domain to basically search the right data type that you need to load. So that's how other people do this. So that's basically how the difference between client and server-side routing. I'm not going to explain everything today because, as you can see, there are like a lot of these routes and a lot of possibilities. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the most beneficial things. So one of the things that a lot of people do when they start is they want to customize like the metadata. So when you load the domain, it automatically copies like this. It will automatically copy. So CoAlias plugin docs. That's what I set in Bubble. But if I want something else, so migrate plugin docs, I want to preserve it so it doesn't get replaced by dynamic stuff. And like in, it will, I don't know how many, migrate plugin docs. So as you can see, it's working, and this will also reflect on SEO, so search engines and social, where you can set the favicon, title, description, image, and also, so that's of course the benefit. You can use that plugin to do the same. So the plugin uh, basically also has where are the meta tags where you can create, update, or delete them, and even list them. So everything you do here this can also be done using the API. We are basically using the same API as we give you. Um, and let's see what else is interesting to explain. Yeah, so the other thing is like if especially if you're interested in SEO, you might want to like customize stuff. Like you can customize things around robots.txt. You can see, hey, to Google only index these pages. If you're looking at this domain, don't index all other pages. You can whitelist pages, so that will block them. So if here I can like, let me show it to you. Okay, I'm going to whitelist slash version test slash index. Oh, I think not index. So just version test. Let's wait. Yeah. So this should be working, but if I do something like this, version test slash I don't know, ABC, it will say not found. So it's blocking access to any other page. So that way you can like customize what pages can be accessed and what not. So there are like levels to what you can do with CoAlias. We also have like options built in where you can reduce requests. So if you want to like reduce workload units, we also have tools built in for that. While I was doing things in the simple configuration, you'll see that yeah, it created advanced rules. So like here, the set for the search engine, it created these rules. So you can also like dive deeper into it and then customize it more. So what can you do? So you can create files. So that would be like for if you want to create like custom sitemaps or custom robot.txt. Metadata, I already explained it, but you can like have different metadata from one page and then different metadata for another page. You can set up redirects. So say, hey, if someone comes to this, go to that, deprecate all URLs. You can add secure response headers. So you can pass like security checks. So you have like securityheaders.com. And code blocks. So that's code injection in pages. So you can inject code dynamically. And there's one other thing, and that's called SEO cache. And basically, that's built into CoAlias. If you enable this checkbox, it will improve the page rating for Google. So what it does, it creates a static version of the page. So instead of like Google spending like 20 seconds loading and parsing and creating the page, it will just create a static page, and that way it will be able to serve like those pages faster to Google and improve indexing. So that's something we're also doing with customers with like 4 or 10 million pages where they are just statically generating those pages and then serving them to Google. So when you start with CoAlias, I think the most important thing to remember is that you there is uh, our plugin documentation. So let me remove this. Where's the plugin doc? Oh, here. There's the plugin documentation. This is like an app where we set up example workflow. So you'll see how you would integrate this into your app. This is basically what other people also use. So here, like I have a form where I connect a group. I call the action where I add the domain. If the domain isn't created, I show the error. If it is created, I create a data type called domain with the verification and DNS. So that's another thing. When you're connecting like these subdomains of CoAlias, everything is automatically connected. But when you're connecting something like, I don't know, crm.bubble.io, I don't know if I can connect that. Already did in the past. I do so many of these demos, I sometimes forget. All right, so like if I want to connect crm.bubble.io, Bubble needs to create like a DNS record. Um, and we will, you can check it. But you can do this using the UI, but you can also do this same thing using the API. So that's the reason why there's like, is this domain verified? Is the DNS configured there? Because we need to know, hey, does the user need to do an action, or is the DNS already configured? And here I'm triggering configure domain, so I can, let me show it to you. Here is like I'm creating a route, adding metadata, adding a custom robot.txt. So there are various actions I'm doing, and I can of course add more. And basically when you need to check, hey, is the domain correctly connected, you just call domain check, and then you know if it's verified and domain DNS, it will. So misconfigured, that's if it's true, it's misconfigured. If it's false, it's correctly configured. So this is everything, but then we have DNS configured, verified, and if there's a certificate generated. But you don't need to check for that. That always goes right, but you can show it to users. Sometimes it takes like 5 or 10 seconds for a certificate to generate, but mostly it's under 1 second. And then basically you can visit the domain, or if the user is done, delete or disconnect them. And I think I'm just doing my regular demo, by the way. So I'm almost done, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to help. But how we basically charge for CoAlias, you can start for free and try it out. But if you like to upgrade, we have a couple of paid plans where we increase the amount of requests. So you basically are paying for usage. So the more you use our platform, the more we basically charge for it. Basic is where most of our customers are using it, but some are like using it much more. You can also use our API to get data usage per domain, so you can charge your customer also based on usage. So that's also possible. This is it for CoAlias. On the website you can find case studies, so you can see how other customers are using CoAlias and how they scaled it. You can find the documentation, the plugin, the pricing, how everything works and what's included. And maybe this is a bit of I haven't announced this yet, but only then for this session. We're working on caching in CoAlias. So what we will be able to do in the near future is VU reduces. Some people might have heard of it. So that's something I created to reduce workload units and increase page speed, but I'm building it into CoAlias. So you can specify what pages need to be cached, and then it will cache that data in CoAlias servers and be able to send that back to the user much faster than a Bubble could. So it will be like in 10-20 milliseconds instead of 1 or 2 seconds. And it will improve page speeds by much. So that's something we're currently working on, and hopefully we'll release it in a month or two. We're still looking at if there are no edge cases or it doesn't break anything. So other questions? I'm actually done explaining most of the stuff I was trying to explain. You can just write them on the chat or unmute yourself. Both are okay. What does total limits? Yeah, so what we basically do, we have like a total limit means that all the requests, so we have different types of requests here. So we have page loads, data requests, direct requests. So there are multiple types of requests, and total requests is all these requests. So there's like this hard limit. Um, and we doubled this. So this was like I think 3 months ago it was 5,000, and now we doubled all of these requests. But basically, it's just to prevent people from abusing the system. So there's like for each of these plans, we dedicate amount of resources, and these limits help us not to yeah get too much compute per plan. Thanks for asking. Actually, I think CoAlias. So the question is, what might be CoAlias constraints or issues right now that are yet to be updated in the roadmap? I don't think there are. So it's like being used by more than 1,000 bubble apps and uh, more than 50,000 domains. So it's like it's already in production. So we are adding more features, also white labeling emails. But most that those are going to be extra features, not improvement of the current features. I think the current features are pretty stable and already working pretty well. So we're not going to do many changes on that. Thanks for asking. Any other questions? Yes, yes. So if there's no destination, it just goes to a four page. Yeah. So normal all pages are just if you don't set up like routes, everything just goes from the one page to another page. So all pages and 404s, everything works. With routing, you can change that, of course. But if there's nothing, you can just go to a 404 page or redirect to a 404 page. Let's see if there are other questions. So the question is there a possibility that user would bounce back from a page to another if there is destination page load? No, I don't think that possibility is there. So yeah, as long as the routes are set up correctly, uh, nothing like that should happen. And we also have like extra tools inside of CoAlias. So I think where are they? Navigation, where you can like if you set up routes, you can like change the URL using CoAlias instruments. I'm not using it anywhere here, but it's like I think it's called like a go to route. So yeah, that's one. So if you like set up custom routes and you want to navigate to that route, you can just go to route. So that's also possible. So yeah, yeah. As I said, this solution has been around for a couple of years and 1.5 years as CoAlias. So it's pretty stable for that. But you know you'll need to install the correct route. Um, when we should we install the plug? So if you want to automate, you need to use the plugin. But if you want, you can just manage it in the dashboard. I think it's currently 60/40. So 60% of our customers manage everything using the UI, like 40% use the plugin. But you can also use both. So whatever happens in the plugin gets reflected in the UI, and the other way around. So yeah, no, I don't mind the questions. CoAlias is idea solving real need. Can you share how you started with SaaS? How many people are working on this project? Are you just Bubble or yeah, are just Bubble on other no-code platforms? Yeah, so we're currently supporting many no-code platforms. So people are using it for WeWeb, Flutterflow, Glide. What are other platforms? Toddle Dev, I think. What have I found more? Flutterflow. So all these platforms are being used with CoAlias. Bubble is the majority, but yeah, also people with WordPress are using it. So there's a guy that's building that has a WordPress page, a WordPress site, and he's building landing pages inside that WordPress site, and then using CoAlias linking to those landing pages and selling that as a service. So he's basically as a service building landing pages on his WordPress site and then selling that. Uh, so yeah, that's also possible. And oh yeah, how many people? So we're currently with 3 people, but CoAlias, although it's a good business, it's a very small uh, company, so it can't support 3 people actually. But we have multiple projects, so yeah, and all these 3 people know CoAlias and are working on it as well. But most of the time, we're just working also on other projects, but we monitor CoAlias all the time. So every minute, like a full check of CoAlias happens. So we run a full test suite. We check all the logs, get analyzed, fed to the AI, and if there's anything wrong, we all 3 get paged immediately. So it's a pretty robust product. We also do that because we're using the product for our other projects that are doing much more revenue and really don't want CoAlias to go down. So that's also one of the reasons why we're doing that. But yeah, we're with 3 people. Access to pages. No, so yeah, if you want to disable based on user roles, you really need to do that in Bubble. So what you can do in Bubble is on page load. So that would create like a 301, I think, where you can say, okay, on page load, this page uh, should be accessed or not. But you can do that in CoAlias because CoAlias doesn't save cookies or user data or those kinds of things. That's also not possible. We're in Europe, so we're not allowed to do that uh, as a service provider. We have to be our privacy laws are very strict in Europe. Although CoAlias is like all around the world, the company is based in the Netherlands. So we can't store any user-related information. We don't even store IP addresses or anything like that. I understand that if I have a SaaS and I want my clients to have their custom domains like client.myapp.com, that I can do that dynamically with the plugin. And how long does it take for the subdomain to be available? So if you're doing the subdomain, you can just add like there are 2 ways. You can add it for each subdomain, but you can also add like yeah, it's called a wildcard domain. So you can say this dot something.com, something like that, and it will just add all that, and you can then inside Bubble, or you can then configure, hey, what subdomain is loaded, what content do I need to show. So you can also do it in one go for all your subdomains without having to do it per subdomain. You can also do it both ways. So configure this and it's configured, and then add each subdomain, and that's like maybe a second or 2, 3 per subdomain to be available. So the question is, when we add another domain in CoAlias, do we need to update the domain's DNS? If it's a subdomain, no. So if you're adding like dynamic subdomains, a lot of them, you only have to do the DNS one time. But if you're adding like different domains, so it could be customer domains or domains owned by you, the multiple domains. For each of them, you'll have to change the DNS because else the internet doesn't know where to route the traffic. Um, so that's the reason why you need to do that. Yes, you need to point it to CoAlias DNS records. So we have like an IP 76762121. It's also on our UI, like here, 76762121. But you can also find it in the plugin. And once you do that, you click the check. It automatically checks DNS records around the world, generates an SSL, and makes the site available. So it's basically extremely fast. CoAlias has its own SEO settings. Will this somehow overlap with Bubble's SEO setting? Do we need to disable Bubble's SEO setting, enable CoAlias SEO setting, or and vice versa? No. So we have, if you really want to dive deep into SEO, yeah, we have like various ways of like doing. Like if you were using Bubble and using CoAlias, yeah, Bubble just automatically generates like a canonical URL, and you want that canonical URL to point something else. So basically, we have scripts. Um, we're trying to create more and more documentation around those solutions, but we have scripts that allow you to change those canonical tags. We have like support articles where we say, hey, change this in the robot.txt, and all of that can enable you to improve SEO. But most of the time, people set it up, then contact us on support and ask us, hey, how can I improve this SEO? And then we just check it and help them. So we're pretty hands-on about that. Uh, we don't have comprehensive documentation yet. I have someone working on that. Um, but yeah, we're recording videos and creating more and more support articles, and this is also a part of that, where I just created a video, and yeah, we're trying to do that more in the coming weeks, where we are putting these videos live. I think the most of the videos will go live next month, but some of them are like integrated into, for example, if you open this editor link, I'll also this is in our documentation, but also on our plugin. If you go to the CoAlias plugin, here's sample project, so that will take you here, and here's a video on how that works. So yeah, it's this is one video. We also have a video on YouTube, and we're releasing more videos in the coming weeks. So most of them will go to YouTube and the CoAlias resources page that we're launching. Um, um, yeah, we had to take down all the old videos because our interface totally changed in the last month. So we did a big update, made the interface much simpler to use, and now we're just working on creating a new documentation. And we don't have an exact ETA, but yeah, it's like in the coming